There are two types of tasks in life. There are the easy ones we can achieve in minutes and repeat over and over. Then there are the harder ones that require effort and willpower. It is too easy to spend too much time on the easy ones and neglect the essential hard ones. But what if there was a way to make those hard tasks easier and more enjoyable? In this video, I'm going to explain how to use a dopamine detox to change the way you perceive these tasks. You see, right now most of us are hooked on high dopamine easy tasks. We don't see the need in engaging with low dopamine hard and essential tasks, but we can change that with my 10 steps. First, let's address why should you bother trying this and not just go play another mobile game right now. Why should you try a dopamine detox? Let's go over the basic science behind the effect of dopamine and what a dopamine detox is before I show you my tips. You probably know dopamine is that happy little friend that gets us high when we experience a pleasure. We love dopamine. Why shouldn't we? Well, here's why. You see, in a study on lab rats, it was noted that rats with dopamine inhibitors lose the will to do, well, pretty much anything really. Those that get too much dopamine for a reward become addicted. I'm sorry to say we aren't too different from those rats. We get dopamine spikes from all kinds of pleasurable activities. But if we have too much, we repeat the behavior to excess, even if it's bad for us. We actually tend to get our highest levels of dopamine for unexpected rewards. This is why gambling, mobile gaming, and checking phones are such addicting activities. To get past this, we need to achieve a state of regulation or a form of homeostasis. We need to increase our tolerance to gain authentic pleasure from all things, especially those hard, low dopamine tasks we no longer wish to do. In other words, we need a detox. So, with all that in mind, I want to take you through 10 steps and tips to get you started on your own dopamine detox. Number 1. Pick your time frame. Before you dive straight into making lists of what you want to give up and what you want to focus on, it helps to set a time frame. You'll see plenty of different suggestions about the best approach here. Some say you need to commit to a full 90-day detox for the best result. This might be true, but it's hard to see that far ahead. I suggest aiming for a month at first and taking it week by week. If the month flies by with ease, do another. If not, readjust your methods and go again. Number 2. Pick your strategy. I have 2 approaches you can take to cut out the damaging high dopamine activities and focus on the low dopamine ones. The first is what I like to call hardcore mode. It isn't for the faint-hearted because it takes willpower and can lead to days of frustration and boredom. Still, I get that some people thrive on tough love. The other method is gentler, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. This hardcore mode requires you to take a day out of your week and completely remove everything classed as a high dopamine activity. All that's left are the tasks you need to do and other beneficial activities to fill your time. Let's look at how to choose your activities in both categories. But before going to the next step, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of more videos like this in the future. Number 3. Find the activities to cut out in a dopamine detox. So many high dopamine activities provide a lot of pleasure for easy tasks. It's no wonder we struggle. Make a list of everything that you do to achieve a high during your day. And be absolutely honest with yourself here, okay? We're not just talking about checking social media, watching YouTube videos, and playing mobile games. We're also talking about more primal pleasures like food and sex. I'm not saying you can't eat or need to buy a chastity belt. Just make your detox day junk food free and refrain from self-love. Number 4. Make time for low dopamine activities instead. You might think that a day without all these pleasures will be a dull one where you won't feel like doing anything. Yep, that's the point. You're trying to bring yourself down into a state of boredom to rebuild that state of tolerance and homeostasis. It doesn't mean you can't do things other than your work and chores. You just need calmer, longer activities that are rewarding in other ways. Go for a long walk to get a different high from being in nature. Read a book. Write something in a journal, even if it ends up being an expletive-laden rant about wishing your phone wasn't off limits. Number 5. Consider the gentle approach to dopamine detox. If hardcore mode sounds a bit intense and impossible to handle, you can try a softer approach instead. This alternative method means picking just one day where you refrain from an activity that holds you back, or perhaps more than one. This could be a social media detox day or a day you don't waste time watching videos of any kind. Pick the ones you know are your bigger vices and that you know don't offer genuine pleasure anymore. Number 6. Bribe yourself on non-detox days. Refraining from high dopamine easy tasks on detox days is great, but that doesn't mean you should stick with all your bad habits on your normal days. You can modify how you approach your easy tasks and dopamine highs. One option is to acknowledge these easy tasks as short-term highs and use them as rewards for your low dopamine hard tasks. This is a great way to build motivation to work or finish your chores. Say you get a notification for a new video from your favorite channel while you're in your dirty kitchen. You can sit down with a nice snack and watch it once you've cleaned up. Then you can move on to your next task and do something else rewarding after that. Number 7. Use the Pomodoro approach to measure out your activities. The Pomodoro method is a great way to block out time and stay focused on those hard tasks that are less rewarding. We can commit to a solid block of time working on that assignment, chapter of study, housework, whatever. Then we know there's a break before the next task. This system fits in with this balance of high and low dopamine activity perfectly. You can power through your task and get your low dopamine hit at the end of your 45 minutes of work. Then you get 15 minutes to enjoy the high dopamine treat of going on social media, watching a quick video, or getting a nice snack. Just make sure you do actually go back to your desk after those 15 minutes. The best way to ensure this is to choose non-damaging or addicting rewards. Number 8. Focus on non-damaging rewards. Something I need to point out here is that while there is good in bringing back high dopamine activities in moderation, you still need to be careful what you choose. For example, if you detox successfully for things that were addicting in some way, such as online gambling or porn, maybe it's best not to head back down that route. You could trigger that addiction again and undo your hard work. Also, be careful with activities that may damage your health. This isn't an excuse to start binging on lots of unhealthy food, drinking excessively, or smoking again. There are better non-damaging rewards that offer as much dopamine. Number 9. Watch the way low dopamine tasks offer a new high. Going back to that idea of tolerance and homeostasis, as we get back to a more regulated response to dopamine, we should get genuine pleasure. This works in 2 ways. First, you'll find that you don't need to spend so long glued to a screen or scrolling on social media to get the high you're after. In turn, you should be able to turn away after your designated break to return to those harder tasks. Second, the low dopamine hit from those harder tasks should feel much better than it once did. You should be able to gain a better feeling from taking part in the tasks that do you good and achieve your goals. With time, you should come to associate the hard tasks with pleasure enough that they become much easier. Number 10. Track your progress. Now, this is something I don't always see mentioned in videos about the dopamine detox. However, I highly recommend it. Progress tracking is great for long-term habit setting, and depending on your answer to point 1, this could be a pretty long journey. The best way to encourage yourself to continue with this sort of detox is to see the fruits of your labor. How? Get a habit tracker on your phone that logs your time on different websites and tasks. Of course, a bonus here is that checking your progress on your phone counts as one of those quick dopamine highs. Just make sure to schedule it correctly. You can make hard tasks easier with a dopamine detox. I'm not going to tell you which route to take between the hardcore and gentle modes, or which activities to quit on detox day. That's all down to you. What I will say to end this is that you have the power to switch the way you respond to dopamine and make those hard tasks enjoyable. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, you can always come back to this channel for tips as often as you need. Just maybe not too much on detox day. And now, make sure to check out this video where I show you the best 10 ways to stay motivated even when dopamine runs low. Check it out right now and see you in the next one.